Welcome to episode 2 of the Telephone Farmer podcast. Before we dive in, a heartfelt thank you to all our amazing listeners and subscribers. Your support, your comments, and shares have been a huge encouragement. Please continue to share this podcast with friends and fellow farmers so we can grow our telephone farming community together. I'm your host, Diana, and in this episode, we're talking about a challenge that every remote farmer must face: building a team that you can trust. From farm managers to casual laborers, the people on the ground make or break your success. With me is Regina, a seasoned remote farmer who's learning these lessons firsthand. Welcome, Regina.
Thank you, Diana.
Let's get into it. Regina, before you hire, you have to know what you're hiring for. How do you break down the farm team?
Good question. I would say you want to have three key roles in your farm. One, your farm manager, and this is your overall manager who basically represents you. This is the person who oversees your projects. This is the person who actually carries your vision in the farm. And this is the person who supervises the other farm workers. The second role will be operation staff, and this include skilled workers for day-to-day activities. However, they are like your animal managers or crop managers. But I say skilled workers because they stay in your farm, they have had experience in your farm, and they know exactly the daily operation of your farm. And they are also on salary. And the third key role is the casual laborers. And basically, these are season or task-based help who come to your farm based on what jobs are available. For example, it's your weeding season, or it's your planting season, or it's your harvesting season, or you need a relief because your operation staff are not going to be there and you just want a day job to be done. And these are who we call casual laborers.
From your description, the farm manager is the heart of the farm. What makes a good manager for someone farming remotely?
Good question, Diana. And actually, you're right. The farm manager is the heart of the farm. Like I said, this is the person who carries your vision. This is the person who represents you when you are away. So first, what we look for, we need experience in farm managing, and we need academic or education background, especially for managers who are going to be taking care of high-end businesses that you have in your farm. You want someone who has the knowledge of how to manage agricultural products like fertilizer, pest control, herbicides, and all these things, all these chemicals that you may be needing to use in the farm. You want someone who is good in leadership. So they must supervise a diverse team, delegate tasks, and of course make solid decisions even in cases of emergency. You need someone who has good communication skills. This is very critical. Remember, this is a remote farming that you are doing. So they should be able to send you pictures, share photos, organize for Zoom meetings, or long time ago we used to use Skype, or you can even use WhatsApp conference calls. So you need someone who is able to set up these meetings and write minutes and keep records of those. Also, you need someone who is able to document. You need a good record keeping for your farm. What did you purchase? How did you spend? And are you actually making profit or not? If you don't have anyone who is knowledgeable in keeping records, you will not be able to trace your trends. What we have is Google Sheets. We put all our expenditure there. So as they record, we are also following from this end. You need someone who has integrity, good integrity, of course, honest, and accountability go a long way. Someone is dealing with your personal property you are far from your property. So you need someone trustworthy, somebody who is accountable. They are able to share records immediately when asked, or they are able to communicate. They are not staying away from the phone, or their phone is not turned off. I mean, they are available whenever you need, because this is, again, remote farming where you rely on telephone. So you want someone who is able to be reached and not telling you there was no internet or availability of cell phone coverage and stuff like that. So integrity is a big thing there. And of course, I mentioned about tech savvy for remote farms like ours. This is a big bonus because we are always on our smartphones, and on a monthly basis we do our conference meetings, and the farm manager is the one who sets up this meeting.
Regina, so you've talked about the good qualities of a good farm manager. What are some of the red flags that we should be looking out for?
Diana, that's a very good question. From our personal experience as remote farmers, we have noticed when there are delayed updates, when there is blame, when you cannot receive a paper trail or records or receipts of what's going on. That's something that you need to be very awoke and start looking further. And I tell you this from a personal feedback. We have had a number of employees, of course, from when we started to where we are now. It's been almost 3 years of being remote farmers. We have switched our farm managers a couple of times, or more than 3 times, and some for good reasons, and because they got promoted to new opportunities, but some is because of stuff like these red flags that we are talking about. So if you ask for farm reports, or you asked for receipts or invoices on whatever you are doing in your farm or whatever you purchased, and there is delay in sending those feedback, just know that that's a big red flag for you. If they ask you for, say, for example, they tell you, hey, today we have 10 casual laborers, and of course, you send out money for 10 casual laborers, but the size of the project that was done, there is no way 10 casual laborers will not have achieved. Just know that that's a big red flag. If they tell you it was raining today and we actually didn't do what we were supposed to do, but you can also search on internet and see the climate changes in that area, and there was no rain for the past 1 week, that is a big red flag. So what I'm saying is, these little things that we've done to verify information when we are given have educated us to have good feedback. Also, if you hear your neighbors or people that know you telling you something about what's going on in your farm, don't ignore, because some of those information that your neighbor will share when you just make a phone call to say hi, that information can be a red flag sometimes, and just pay attention. Don't be confrontational when handling these issues, but address them on a timely manner.
Regina, that has been so insightful. Thank you for sharing that with our listeners. We've talked about the farm manager, who's the heart of the farm. Now let's talk about the operational staff, who are the backbone, and also the casual laborers, who are the hands on the farm. How are these resources managed?
So I mentioned that the operation, I call them operation staff because they run the day-to-day operation in my farm. We have one who is in charge of livestock and the other one who is in charge of the crops. And these two, we actually have two at the moment, and they report directly to the farm manager. Basically, the farm manager can trust that whoever is in charge of the animal is responsible for milking the cows, ensuring that the milk is taken to where we sell the milk, and making sure the cows are fed. We have sheep in the farm, so they make sure that they are taking care of those. They are responsible for knowing when immunizations were done or whatever it needs to be done regarding the animals. They actually also help the farm manager in keeping records of which cow is about to calf, or which one needs what, or what animal is sick, and stuff like that. And the other operation staff is in charge of the crops, and their job mainly is to ensure that all the farm activities are carried out. They report directly to the farm manager. They let them know, hey, we need to be weeding this, we need to be planting that. And the farm manager overall oversee all the farm projects, but they are direct reports to the farm manager. The casual laborers, on the other hand, only come during seasons. So not every day shall we have casual laborers in the farm. We do have casual laborers during high season. The operation staff who is in charge of the crop actually knows who works best in the farm. In absence of the farm manager, they supervise these casual laborers. They actually recruit them and supervise them and ensure that the work is done. So casual laborers, they don't stay in our farm. They come and go. Operation staff and the farm manager, they stay in our farm and they are on a payroll.
Okay, now that we know the roles, how do you go about hiring the right people?
So our journey has taught us a lot. When we first started, we used our relatives to refer people to us, and we even negotiated with our relatives on the salaries, and we didn't really know how to focus on some major skills like experiences, and we really didn't know even how to go to the market and look for our own employees. So that being said, we have learned, we have great feedback now, and we have formed a structure, and we have an HR agency who assist us in recruiting our farm workers. So if we need a farm manager, we come up with a job description of the kind of farm manager that we are looking for, and we have this HR agency or these HR personnel in particular that we are involved with to help us advertise for the job, screen for potential candidates, conduct the interview, perform the background check, do the onboarding, and bring forth the employment letters. And we also, on the other hand, we also depend on this HR agency actually to help us with any day-to-day activities of the farm workers. For example, if evaluations are due, we depend on them to do the evaluations. And if there is any termination to be done or promotion to be done, we also depend on them to guide us on how to do those.
Great. So for me as an aspiring remote farmer, I'm not on the ground, I'm oceans away. And if I'm thinking to maybe hire a family member to be my boots on the ground, what is your take on that?
That's very tricky, by the way, because we've been there. We've had relatives on our farm, and they actually did very good. They helped, like one specific person is a relative that we had in our farm. They help us establish our processes. So there is advantages to that, and also there is disadvantages to having a relative on your farm. The best advice I would say is treat your relatives just the way you treat your regular workers in your farm. Another point is, where possible, do not hire your relative to be your farm manager. Have your relative report to the farm manager. In the case where you need to let go of your relative, it's not going to be your problem because it can bring conflict. Our relatives, we trust them. They can be cheap when it comes to where you pay because they also receive other benefits from you. However, they can have entitlement, and that can be an issue. But if they are not reporting directly to you, they are reporting to the farm manager, it's not going to be your problem because they are not answerable to you. They are answerable to the farm manager, and the farm manager is not going to have that grace like you have to say, okay, let me deal with this because I know they need this job. I know 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to let that go. But if the disciplinary person is going to be the farm manager, the discipline will be effective. That's my take on that, Diana.
This was such an insightful episode, Regina. If you had one takeaway for our listeners today, what would it be?
Diana, thank you. This is what I would say. If you have enjoyed this episode, please share it with fellow farmers, friends, or anyone managing a farm from afar. Let's grow this community together. Remember, the strength of your farm lies in the people you choose to run it. Don't rush the process. Invest in finding the right team, and you will see the results of your harvest. At the end of the day, here is what I have learned in my remote farming journey. Hire for character, train for skill, and monitor with structure. That's the recipe remote farming success. Thank you. Until next episode.
Thanks for joining us today. Stay tuned for episode 3. where we'll cover how to set up a remote monitoring system, something that actually works and keeps you connected to your farm. Until next time, God bless.
Thank you.